Got a birthday present from my parents, actually. And this is one I put on my list that I told myself I wasn't going to buy, but I would put on my gift list, and my parents came through. This is Herman Luttman's Tattered Flags Volume 1 Into the Whirlpool from Blue Panther. This game looks really awesome. It's going to be a quick unboxing because there's a lot of people who've done unboxings of this that have done a much better job than I'm going to be able to do, but I just wanted to give my commentary on what's in here because this game looks phenomenal. I can't wait to play it. Kind of a... Well, so it's the wheat field during Battle of Gettysburg, July 2nd, 1863. But it's a really interesting looking system. Herman Luttman is known for designing really interesting and unique systems. Typically, like Blind Swords, for example, a lot of variability in the gameplay. I really like that system a lot. There's some cards in here. We'll get to that in a moment. We got 4d10s, which I believe they have zeros or tens on them. They have zeros. So blue and white. I believe I think you roll all of these in combat. We have a canvas map. I'll get to that in a moment. And here is the Into the Whirlpool Rulebook, which is not insignificant. It is 36 pages, and this, while it is... Well, it's a cool looking game. It does appear to be quite involved because it's kind of a pseudo minis game in some senses, from what I can tell. We've got these long counters. The movement is really unique, as I'll show you in a moment on the map, and it has some similarities to Blind Swords with like the cards and card play and stuff like that. But we're talking about brigades here, are the primary unit of maneuver in this game. And again, like Blind Swords, you've got different orders you're going to be giving to your units each turn. This is a much more tactical scale than Blind Swords is. And here we can see an example of the movement. You're actually not using hexes. You're using these little octagonal areas to give you sort of a full range of like 30 degrees or 45 degrees of movement. So it's kind of really interesting. That's kind of what harkens to the minis aspect here. But the rules are really nicely done in color. I think this is probably one of Blue Panther's best put together rule books in terms of paper quality, and the cutting on this is quite nice. So they're upping their game a little bit. So as you can see, it is single column, which is more readable to some people, but is fairly dense. Reorganization, morale test, that's a big element of Blind Swords as well. And then you've got your battle cards. They have additional complexity and an extra level of realism, simulating the historical chaos. So you've got multi-use cards, Rebel and Union, and some other types of cards as well. So this is a very hefty 36 pages of rules. Can't wait to get this to the table and play it. It looks really interesting. Here's the scenario book. I believe the game comes with, oh, there's the counters, comes with 5 or 6 scenarios. So the first contact scenario, there's some playthroughs of this online. This is basically a good way to learn the system. Very few units, victory conditions. Only part of the map is used. Here we've got scenarios 2 and 3, wheat and stone, a little bit more units there. The Whirlpool of Death might be the entire thing. So this one starts... This one looks like a small skirmish like scenario. It looks like it may only be a few turns. Here's a big, so scenario 5, we've got lots of units on the board. I believe this game also comes with setup cards, which is nice. And then we've got the Bloody Wheat Field, the Grand Battle scenario, the largest scenario in the game, covers the engagement. Looks like we've got a, so here's where we got the setup for that. Lots of particular scenario rules on that one. And then we've got Reaping the Wheat. This is a free-for-all meeting engagement. This is... So you send your forces in from opposing ends of the battlefield with the primary goal to defeat your opponent. It looks like sort of a free setup. You get to define the game length and how many forces you're going to allow. So this is kind of where you get into the mini section, more inspiration to the rules here. So you can get, basically, if you want to do the wheat field in your own specific way, the game allows you to do that. So that's the scenario book. Here we've got a half sheet of counters. As you can see, we've got some Confederates here. These are brigades. Reverse side. These are really nice. These are rounded. Blue Panther doing a really good job with the production on this. Here is a turn track and a terrain chart. That's paper. We've got some more counters. Here we've got the Union. Really nicely done, again, with the rounding. I can't wait to punch these. Look like they'll be really nice to play with. The graphic fidelity on these is quite good. Better than the Blue Panther normal. Here we've got markers. Mine look to be printed a little to the right on some of them. So like you can see the D right up against the edge there, maneuver right up against the edge. Nothing that's going to affect gameplay, but I do wish that they had been centered. These disruptions are a little bit right at the edge. Not terrible. I'm not going to bother with it because they are playable. All right, we've got some setup cards here. So this is going to show you, so for example, for scenario 2, how you set up the game, which is really nice. I really like that. Here's scenario 3, much bigger scenario. And you can see, here's the octagonal things on the map. Really excited to play this. Looks like some of these might be double-sided. Just going to send those off to the right. Here is the combat charts. This is going to look familiar to people who have played Blind Swords. Here's your fire combat tables to hit percentages, how you adjust those, bayonet combat, morale test. So it looks like you're doing a D100 system here based on the unit type. And yeah, if you've played Blind Swords, this is probably going to be not too difficult. Here on the back, we've got what you need to do to change orders, or what happens when you roll to change orders. Here are your different orders. So much like Blind Swords, you've got a series of orders. When you activate your brigades, they're going to behave in certain ways based on the orders you give them. Sequence of play, command range, formation, morale test. So yeah, so really nicely done. I like the fold out so that they're really large. I like when the player aids are spread like this over 2 pages, so the print can be nice and large. Let's take a look at the maps and cards. Here it is in all its glory. The wheat field from Into the Whirlpool. Really nice canvas stock here. Feels very good, very tough. You could play on this. You might not need to plexi it unless you want it to lay flat, or you could flatten it under some books or whatever. But as you can see, you're gonna be moving, and these look like elevation slope contours. You're gonna be moving in sort of 45-degree increments. That's gonna determine facing and movement, cover, and all of that stuff. Here are some of the cards. As you can see, these are good quality as well. You know, McClaw's issues orders. Before your movement step, do this. Longstreet directs the attack. Here's, of course, Rebel Yell. Can't have a Herman Luttman Civil War game without Rebel Yell. And then we've got some of these, which are like Firefight. That's familiar, probably from Blind Swords. Ammo problems, overconfident, breakthrough, fatigue. So you're going to be playing these during the course of the game. The Colonel is down. That one's also Rally Around the Flag. Those are from Blind Swords as well. So yeah, so if you're going to be playing these during the game to affect what's going on, and they kind of change up the variety of what's happening in the game. So I can't wait to play this. This is, to me, kind of a dark horse for probably maybe one of the best games of the year based on what I've seen. Tattered Flags, #1, Into the Whirlpool. I can't wait to see where this system goes. It's got a really unique take on tactical combat, and it's Herman Luttman, so it's going to be good.